Okay, I'm gonna say something that might be a little controversial or a lot of you might not agree with it. CNC machines are the future of woodworking. And honestly, that's not even accurate. CNC machines are the present day of woodworking and manufacturing. And if you don't believe me, stick around and I'll explain. First up, as you can already tell, I'm making a huge upgrade of machines, and throughout this video, I'll be showing you the process of putting together this absolutely massive 5-foot by 10-foot Avid Pro CNC. And it has this insanely big 8.7 horsepower spindle that runs off of 3-phase power. This thing is seriously a beast. So I recently gave away my X-Carve Pro with its 4-foot by 4-foot cutting capacity to make room for this monster of a machine. If you're wondering why I'm sweating so much, it's because I just loaded the X-Carve Pro up into that U-Haul, and my good buddy Joe from Last Leg Woodworks is taking it home to live in his shop. And throughout this video, I'm gonna go through the process of putting all this together while I explain my thoughts on why CNCs are here to stay. But first, allow me to back up a little bit. This whole journey of digital manufacturing and 3D modeling for me began several years ago when I got my first X-Carve. It was the little X-Carve. It's got a 29 by 29 inch cutting bed, and it's essentially just a small hobbyist machine. Now, when I got that machine, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything about digital manufacturing, about CNC, or about 3D modeling. And when it showed up, I had no idea how to run the software, but I was eager to learn and figure it all out. And I actually think that's what stops some people from getting into getting a CNC or getting into digital manufacturing. That and those upfront costs that are involved with getting a machine, whether it's a small machine or an absolutely huge machine like this. The learning curve to running a CNC machine, learning 3D modeling and design can seem a bit daunting, but I think I'm living proof that if I can figure it out, anyone can do this, trust me. I'm by no means an expert in the world of 3D modeling and design, and I got my start initially by diving into a program that I think is the easiest one out there to learn, and it's called SketchUp. And it's still my go-to 3D modeling software to this day. I've become really comfortable using it. So comfortable, in fact, that I'm finding it really difficult to kind of branch out and learn some of these more feature-rich programs that can do more of that 3D modeling and then kick it out into the CAM software that's specific for CNC. And I'm talking about stuff like Fusion 360 and a program that I just downloaded called Vectric Aspire. What I find myself doing is going back to SketchUp and learning workarounds so I don't have to learn those new programs. You know, like a lot of other folks, I get kind of nervous about diving into something completely new and just kind of how daunting it can be to learn all of these new things and finding the time to do so. But I know if I do dive into programs such as Fusion 360 and Aspire, it's going to open up new doors to, different types of projects, processes that I can do with that software. It's essentially going to allow me to level up my abilities and do things that I never thought possible with this machine. Digital manufacturing is here right now, whether anyone likes it or not. And digital manufacturing is everywhere. Just think about the phone or the computer or the tablet that you're watching this video on right now. Some craftsman or woman didn't painstakingly put that thing together with their hands. There's no dovetails in an iPhone, although that would be pretty cool. It was made in large part due to 3D modeling and digital manufacturing, like a lot of things in the world. And the same is true in the furniture world, especially for pieces that are produced on a large scale. And you might say, well, what about something like cutting dovetails or turning something on a lathe? And the crazy thing is, this machine is capable of both of those processes. Now, it requires some equipment that I don't yet have, such as a vertical work holding table if I was going to be cutting dovetails, or a rotary fourth axis if I was going to do any type of turning or any sort of complex rotary carving. But I just wanted to point out some of the things that this machine can do that maybe a lot of people don't realize that it can do. The main reason why you might be interested in getting into CNC or even thinking about it is because of the thing that this machine does really well, and that thing is earn you money.
Show me the money!
The CNC is an entire manufacturing business in a small footprint comparative to needing an entire workshop or a warehouse full of tools to do all the things this machine can do in a 5x10 footprint. And I want to talk about some examples of that. And all of these are things that I'm considering myself as I hone in on the types of projects that I want to do as I start to turn this machine into a business for myself outside of just doing YouTube. If you watched my channel in the past, you might have seen the video where I created this computer cart that's got a monitor lift in it. And the whole thing was created entirely on a CNC machine. I modeled that whole project up in SketchUp and made it so that it all slots together using tabs. And after I made this cart, I realized I could create a whole line of products around using that same technique. Now, this aesthetic isn't something that would look good as furniture in a home, in my opinion, but it's perfect for shop furniture. Imagine if you had a business where you could build out an entire shop full of custom cabinets, storage solutions, workbenches, router tables, what have you. And I think you could do that at prices that are competitive to the storage solutions that one might get at the big box store. And in many instances, I think you could even quote something that costs less than those prefab options. Now that's a business that could be very successful and require only basic 3D modeling skills, readily accessible materials like some radiata pine plywood from Home Depot, like I built this computer cart out of, and one where you could upcharge for things like installation, customization, adding artwork or logos, or even adding someone's favorite football team. This machine is essentially a business in a box, or really about 26 boxes if we're being 100% accurate. It's a lot of parts, but thankfully the instructions on the Avid website are very easy to follow and extremely well drawn out. Let's talk about another business idea that you could do with this machine. You could create your own line of flat pack furniture that packs and ships easily. And with a CNC machine, you're not limited to traditional geometry and methods of joining materials. You have the ability to create things that look completely unique. Then you can ship these products anywhere you need to without having to pay the exorbitant costs that it takes to ship an entire assembled piece of furniture, because you've got something that packs into a small footprint, thus saving you money, saving you time, and then they could easily assemble it on the other end themselves. And while we're talking about shipping costs and the hassles that come along with having to go to the post office, let's take a minute to talk about the sponsor of this video, Stamps.com. And I think the sponsor is something that dovetails nicely with the idea of creating a business around a CNC machine. Stamps.com is a website that brings the US Postal Service and UPS right to your computer, which makes it easy for a small business to mail and ship without going to the post office. Right now, my viewers can stop wasting time going to the post office and instead go to Stamps.com and enter the promo code JohnnyBuilds. Use my promo code to get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. With Stamps.com, you can print official US postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail, and when you're ready to ship, you can schedule a pickup or just drop it off at the post office. With life finally getting back to normal, it's more important than ever to enjoy the little things in life, and why waste time going to the post office? Again, my viewers can skip the hassle of going to the post office and instead go to Stamps.com and use my promo code JohnnyBuilds to get a special offer. That special offer includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. And when you sign up, there's no long-term commitments or contracts. Thanks to Stamps.com for supporting my channel, and I want to encourage all of you to go check them out to grow your small business. All right, let's talk about another business that this machine does extremely well and extremely fast, and I'm talking about slab flattening. If you've ever stood over a router sled and flattened a large slab, or maybe a couple slabs if you're building a river table, you know what a giant mess this creates and how long it really takes. And if you're building tables for a client, that time is money. Now, there are machines out there that are essentially CNC machines that only flatten slabs, and the most well-known of those machines, I believe, is called a woodwiz, and it costs about the same as this 5x10 Avid CNC. The difference is this can do so much more, but it can also flatten slabs just as well as that machine. And it actually performs better than that machine when you take into account this 8.7 horsepower spindle that I've got running off of 3-phase power. Now let's say this was all you did for your business and you could process, say, 10 slabs a day. Now, depending on the size of the slab, how much warp was in it, how much time it was going to take you, you could easily charge $100 to $200 per slab. Now, imagine that you could flatten up to 10 slabs in a day. This machine would pay for itself in the first month. Okay, so this whole time you've been watching different clips of me building this machine. Let's stop for a second and talk about the assembly process briefly. I was surprised myself just how straightforward the assembly process was. I had a friend that was supposed to come over and help me put this whole thing together. He wasn't able to make it because of other obligations, so I ended up putting this entire machine together all by myself. It took me 3 days to do it, and those 3 days, I wasn't even working full 8-hour days. I would say it took me somewhere between 18 to 20 hours total to put this machine together. Now, I actually enjoy that sort of task, so for me, that wasn't a big deal. I'm the type of person that really enjoys putting together IKEA furniture or building a set of Legos, really anything where there's a set of detailed instructions that I get to follow step by step, because that's extremely satisfying to me because I'm weird like that.
Nerd alert!
Now again, I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of how this machine goes together. Avid has really good instructions on their website. There's already some really good YouTube videos out there as well that walk you through almost step by step through the process. Johnny Brook from Crafted Workshop has a couple of videos on putting his Avid together. Those videos are fantastic. But I did want to talk about my dust collection solution right here. I got all of this dust collection hose and that rail up there and the hooks from Rockler. Rockler is a big supporter of my channel, so shout out Rockler. Thanks for supporting me. And I came up with this sort of cantilevered design because I have 20-foot ceilings in here, so I wasn't able to just hang the rail from the ceiling and have the dust collection. It works out really, really well. It is mounted directly into drywall using some drywall anchors, which isn't ideal, but I did get these pretty beefy drywall anchors. I got them on Amazon. They're made by Simpson Strong Tie. I'll leave a link down below. I can't remember the exact weight ratio that they're rated to hold. They're pretty robust and really simple to use. On each one of those 2x4s, I installed 9. I don't think this is going anywhere, and that's really not a whole lot of weight to have to hold up, so I think I'm gonna be good. So getting back to the main point of this entire video, I think I've kind of explained how you can take this machine and turn it into a business. I don't see it so much as, you know, a big cost. It's an investment. This machine is honestly amazing. It's such a huge upgrade from my old machine. Like I said in the beginning, CNC machines, they're here to stay. I think they're just going to become more a part of workflows for a lot of different people, whether they have a full workshop like me or they're just working out of a garage. It's really the new normal. Now, I'm guessing there's still some of you out there that totally disagree with me, that would never have one of these in your shop. I want to hear your thoughts on that. So make sure you leave a comment down below and explain if you agree with me, why. If you disagree with me, that's okay, but I want to hear your thoughts on it as well. I think when it really hit me just how normal having a CNC machine is, I would say about a year ago when I noticed on those Grizzly email blasts that you get that they were advertising a lot of CNC machines. If you look around my shop, I'm someone who has a lot of Grizzly tools, so I've been on their mailing list for some time, and I keep seeing these emails where they're advertising different types of machines, all the way from big machines like what I have down to small hobby machines. As a matter of fact, today, right here, I don't know if you can see that. This is the Grizzly email, and it's advertising the Shaper Origin. So I thought that was kind of cool. This thing where I noticed that it was just becoming more and more common to see CNC machines advertised on different websites and seeing them in more and more people's shops. And then I get that email today. Again, you may or may not agree with me. For myself, this is going to become a huge part of my workflow moving forward. I love this machine. I still have a lot to learn though. You've watched all the way here to the end, and I have one request for you. This machine needs a name. So if you've watched to the end, make sure you leave a comment down below and tell me what I should name this monster of a machine. And as always, thanks for checking this one out, and I'll see you back here next time.